Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a couple things that I need to get done. I need to harvest a couple of things in the garden. My peppers are actually growing. I don't know if it was just too hot for them back when we had that heat wave, and now they're just all of a sudden wanting to grow, which is actually kind of cool. So I gotta harvest a couple of those peppers out there, and then maybe a cucumber or two. I kind of gave up on my garden, and I'll show you how bad it looks. I still have pumpkins out there that are growing. It seems like as soon as I stopped watering daily, they started to die. So it seemed like they were doing just fine when I was watering them daily, so I'll probably just continue doing that. I've kind of just abandoned it altogether though. My pumpkins are still doing okay, but oh, and I also wanted to see if I can harvest some sunflower seeds to save for next year and grow sunflowers from those seeds. So that'll be kind of a little bit of an experiment. But I have my little, I don't really have a garden basket yet. I have to grab one at Goodwill because my local Goodwill always has like garden, I don't know if they're specifically garden baskets, but they always have like those wooden, not wooden, like wicker baskets. So I gotta pick one of those up, but for now we're just gonna take out these little containers that I got from the Dollar Tree. I actually really like these containers, but I have to harvest some chamomile, which we'll put in here, and then the peppers and cucumbers we'll put in here because we don't really have that many, so let's go out there. I also have a few pumpkins that, like this one, I'm not really sure what happened to this one. I think an animal was clawing at it or something, and I grabbed it and it just kind of fell off the vine. And then I also have this one, so I kind of want to cut it open and see what's inside and see if we can maybe get the seeds from that. I don't know, we're just experimenting. So here is my abandoned garden bed, and as you can tell, a lot of the leaves are dying back, but it's really mainly only in the garden bed itself, so I think it's just dried up and it needs a little bit more moisture in there, and it's probably due to me underwatering it or not watering as much as I was, but it isn't really affecting my pumpkin production at all, so I'm not super worried about it. My chamomile, on the other hand, is doing really, really well, so I'm going to go ahead and try and harvest as much as I can off of this little bush and then put it inside to dry. Here I have my pepper plant, which is surprisingly producing a lot of peppers. I'm not really sure if they're ready to harvest yet, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick them all off. A lot of them actually look really beautiful. This is the first year. I think this plant actually I got at Home Depot as a plant already, so I didn't plant it from seed. It was a bought plant, and I think I bought it around June this year, and a lot of the flowers were dying and the peppers weren't producing. But up until maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, it started producing a lot more peppers, which I'm really, really excited about because I use peppers in a lot of my cooking. I forgot what kind of peppers these were though, but I think they'll be good regardless. Now for my cucumber plant. Now, I don't think this plant is doing all that well. A lot of these cucumbers are very oddly shaped and brown or yellow. So I picked off a couple of them and just kind of threw them back into the garden bed. There was this one though. This one looked pretty good, so I decided to keep it and just save it as a little snack. And I think that was the only cucumber that I saved. I think this one I ended up throwing back into the bed as well, just to kind of decompose on its own. Now for these pumpkins. I have a few pumpkins that are growing and looking really good so far. This one I think is one of my smaller ones. A lot of the tendrils are attaching to the grass, which is kind of funny. But this one is, I think this one's my favorite pumpkin. It looks super, super cool. And so what I did was I tried to stand it upright because of that yellow spot. I think when they retain moisture from the ground, they'll kind of turn yellow. And then this one is the biggest pumpkin I have. This one is starting to turn orange, and I got so excited when I found that out this morning. And same thing was happening with this one. There was a yellow spot. But don't quote me on the reason why. I'm not exactly sure, but that's just what I read. So I decided to stand this one upright as well. A lot of the pumpkin leaves are turning silver. I'm not exactly sure why that happens, so if anybody knows, that would be greatly appreciated if you gave some tips in the comments. They are also producing like this white mildewy powder on the leaves, and I think that's just mildew and fungus, but like these leaves are super, super silver. It's not powdery mildew. Here's another pumpkin. I decided to stand upright. I think in total I have 4 or 5 pumpkins, which is pretty exciting. I told myself when I planted the seeds that my goal is to have at least 5 pumpkins. And I think that one's actually starting to turn orange as well, so that's really, really exciting. Right, we are back inside, and I'm already making a huge mess. I wish I could do this outside just because there is so many bugs on these. Which is kind of why I'm doing it with gloves on. Because of the road behind us, it gets super loud, and so it's really distracting. So we're just gonna do it inside. So I've never really harvested sunflowers before, sunflower seeds. But I've seen or I've watched videos on people doing it. So I kind of know what to do. I was watching the Garden Answers video on how she harvested her sunflower seeds. And she was harvesting them from, they were still on the stem and on the actual plant itself. But these have been cut for, I want to say about 2 weeks now. I know that you can dry them off of the actual plant. Garden Answer was saying how if you do want to dry them before you harvest them off of the stem, then you should put a brown paper bag on top of the entire head, which we didn't really do that, or we didn't really hang them either. I think that's more for if you are harvesting your seeds to eat though. We were gonna harvest them to eat the seeds, but we had them hanging in our garage, and I think flies were laying their eggs in the seeds, and so we found a bunch of worms in there. I'm not really sure if they're still in there. We'll see. And then he threw them away, and I thought a couple days later, I was like, wait a second, I can try and harvest those seeds still to try and plant them for next year. If you look at this sunflower head, I think Garden Answer was saying how a couple ways that you'll be able to tell when they're ready to harvest is the back of the head will be yellow and brown, and that's how you know, or that's a couple of reasons how you'll know that they'll be ready to harvest the seeds. I think another way, here's the back. So it's a bit yellow. It has a little brown too near the stem. And then another way is if you look at the seeds, they'll have stripes like regular sunflower seeds. Mine don't really have those. They're kind of just purple, and some of them look really dry. So I will show you as soon as we get these little flowers. These are flowers on top, the ones that are falling out. Oh, there's a worm. Oh, there's a bunch of bugs. Ugh, I really don't want to do this inside. I am gonna do this outside. I'm gonna video record it, but I'm probably just gonna do a voiceover. Oh. All right, so now we are outside. I'm super glad that I decided to do this project outside because of how messy it got. There were so many little bugs and there were more worms, and it was just overall better to do it outside. I did end up getting a lot of seeds from this, especially from the big ones. Now, a lot of my seeds were purple, and so I think they were okay. I'm not 100%. These sunflowers were yellow, but I think they were cross-pollinated by bees or by the wind or something, because all of these seeds are purple, and I don't think that's very common for normal sunflower seeds to be purple. So I'll put the name on the screen because I can't think of it at the top of my head, but they are the reddish, really, really beautiful sunflowers. And this field that we went to get these sunflowers had those red sunflowers, so that's why I'm kind of thinking that they were cross-pollinated by bees or by wind or something. The bulk of this sunflower seed harvest was from the outer edges of the head, not so much the middle or inside. Those were more of a drier seed, and I'll also put a video of the comparison of the two seeds, the dry and the regular. I got a lot of seeds from these. I think there was 4 big sunflowers, and also if you look inside of the sunflower, it has more of like that purpley tint to it, and it's really beautiful, and that's why I think that there might have been a cross-pollination. I will not find out until next year, and if they even bloom, so I'm really excited for that. But yeah, so the more in you go towards the center, the more drier the seeds get. So here are the seeds that aren't dry, and they're super full and hard. And the ones on the left, these ones are super dry, and I don't even think they have big or seeds at all in the middle of them. And I was also curious as to really what's going on inside of the sunflower, so I wanted to kind of open it up, and it's weird because it's almost like a cotton fiber. It's really soft, very, very sticky. So if you are going to do this with the sunflower, I would suggest wearing gloves because my hands got super sticky afterwards. But it's just really fascinating to see this soft, cushiony texture inside of the sunflower. It was kind of a little tough to pull apart too, but just really, really cool. I also went through this little seed pile once more to make sure I got a good amount of seeds from it, and then I decided to just toss the rest away. Most of them were dried seeds, so I really didn't want to save those. And then I also ended up trying to get seeds from these small ones. I gave up really quickly, but I did go back and find some good seeds. Most of them were really dried out or super small to where I just didn't feel like prying them out of that flower head. But this it's just so beautiful in the middle. It's just so pretty. I can't get over it. But here's where I found the good seeds. I think this flower mainly had the good seeds in there, and they were very bulky and plump and hard, and they were also purple. So I really think that all of these sunflowers are gonna come out red and yellow, maybe a little bit, but mostly red, and I'm super, super excited for that. All right, everyone, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed like I did. That was my very first time harvesting sunflower seeds. It was pretty fun. It was very tedious. The big ones were a little bit more fun than the small ones. The small ones weren't really that fun. I didn't really get a lot out of the small ones. Overall, I'm pretty excited with today's harvest. I got a lot of big sunflower seeds. I got a few small ones, and I got my chamomile, pepper, and 1 cucumber. Also, I wanted to add, so I wanted to show you guys kind of where I am keeping my seeds and herbs to dry for now. So I have a little corner kind of right by my back door. I mostly keep this curtain closed so they don't sun dry. But I have my chamomile here and my DIY little drying rack that I made, and I have my big sunflower seeds and then my small ones. And so for the sunflower seeds, they will sit out to dry for about 24 hours, I believe, and then I can go ahead and put them in an airtight container. And then for the chamomile can dry, I believe, for up to 2 weeks. But usually I've been just drying them for about a week, and it seems like they've been drying pretty well. And then I'll put them in my little airtight mini mason jar container. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye.